with Polygon Pythagoras. MetaMask, yeah, crypto cash. Yeah, I seen the metaverse through MetaTope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone. Phase 1, evolution, revolution. Smart contracts inside your smartphone. Phase 1, evolution, revolution. Help me ETH phone. Whole body markerless motion capture. The metaverse broken after the MetaTope golden era. The whitelist still open, hurry up what you need, golden chariot. Holy virgins that's holding cherubims, paving the road with fairy dust. Create the avatar of your wildest dreams, yeah. And use it inside your live stream. And all your metaverses, favorite games in widescreen. MetaTope, visualize your digital ID.
Welcome everyone. Hey Enzo.
Hey, how's it going, man? Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay, all right.
I got you.
All right, awesome. Hey guys, we have a giveaway pinned up to the top. For those of you that haven't entered the giveaway yet, go up to the pinned tweet at the top, like, retweet, tag a few friends, and hop in the Discord. Get you signed up for the giveaway. I'll be pinning up stuff to the top as we go along. Get you some videos about our app and how the project is doing. Also, very glad to have Crypto Kenny from Alpha Mutants up here with us. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really excited to be here.
Super happy to have you. Thanks for coming out. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Please tweet it out to your friends. Have everybody come and join us. We're going to have a great discussion today. The more people we get in here, the more I'm going to feel like giving away a little bit more ETH. So let's get this place loaded up. Let's have a good time. Let's give everybody a chance to come up and talk. I want to point some people out in the audience. We got Jordan Yallen, our CEO. We got Walker Holmes, our vice president. We got Crypto Chris G. He's our head of partnerships. You guys have heard from Enzo. He's our lead mod. We got Cool Music Guy. He's our admin for Discord. Another one of the people you'll see in there all the time. And then I want to shout out to Lynn May and Max and Jakela. Bunch of great members that are always in our Discord, always dropping great memes and having a great time. I'm going to have some really big community announcements towards the end, so stick around for that. Today we're going to talk a little bit about education in Web3, talk about what's been happening with a little bit about FTX and Bored Apes and things going on in the space, and what people think about what we need to do going forward. After that, we're going to get some project updates from ourselves, and we're also going to hear from Alpha Mutants and all about their project and discuss it. So I'm going to lay out the topic for the week, and let's see where we can go with this. You know, Web3 and crypto have gotten a lot of bad press of late, and so I want to know what everybody thinks we should be doing, or what yourselves are doing to educate people in this space as we go forward and try to gain traction as an industry.
Yeah, I think with all the events that have gone on in the past couple of days, one of the biggest takeaways that I've personally been doing, Shelly and I moved everything into a ledger. We took everything that we had off of Binance. We got a ledger and we threw everything into a ledger for like personal safety. I think that's one of the biggest things that I took away from everything that's happened in the past 2 weeks. Get a ledger. And absolutely. Not your keys, okay. Not your crypto.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would add on to that. I think that, you know, I mean, we've always, you know, preached our communities, and I've always said this to anyone that asks me any specific question in the space. You know, exchanges are on ramps and off ramps, right? Like they're not meant to hold any amount of your valuables. You know, anything. You don't want to hold your NFTs. You don't want to hold your crypto on like custodial wallets. You know, that's obviously a big thing looking for. But to your question, like, what do I think I think the industry has to do to move forward? I mean, I think it's pretty simplistic. You know, we have to have common sense regulation, and this is this is a point that we're coming to that is going to be the make or break point for cryptocurrency. Now, when I say break, I don't mean it's going to destroy the whole industry if it's bad, but it's definitely going to set us back a lot. We need sensible regulation. We need transparency for these protocols and projects that have large amounts of retail investors' funds, and we need to have transparency as to what these things are being invested in, where they're being held. We expect nothing less of traditional market companies. We can see everything that they do, and for these CeFi centralized finance applications and exchanges, I mean, we need the same types of transparency, right? There are great things that come with cryptocurrency and with blockchain technology as far as self-sovereignty and self-responsibility. But when we're looking at centralized entities inside the space, we're not really talking about blockchain technology, right? We're talking about a company or corporation utilizing blockchain technology. So I think that we need to really do our best as in any type of project, no matter what you're doing currently in the space, to kind of put out there sensible regulation. And I think that's going to be super important over the next 8 to 16 months.
I couldn't agree more. I think what we're seeing is the flush out, right, of the system, of what the rules are going to be, who the players are going to be. I mean, this is the same thing that happened with business, right? I think it goes beyond just corporations getting into the centralization side of things, but you really, what you're looking at is individuals saw an opportunity to become the centralized positioning in a decentralized system. And for, I guess, lack of a better avenue, like you talked about, onboarding, offboarding, being able to trade in an easy way, these entities grew very fast, and a lot of people, I think, were unsure, I guess, of the decentralized, right? Because we certainly have decentralized exchanges, but many of those were startups beginning. Where's the liquidity? Whereas we saw these big companies, we thought, stand up behind these exchanges, and it turns out it's really a lot of the shell games that companies play anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you have to realize and you have to think about this, like, as first of all, you have to understand that blockchain technology is so very young. It's almost like a premature baby still at this stage, and we're blockchain tech allows individuals to create massive protocols and usable dApps and things of this nature, and that's the upside, right? Like, I mean, it there can be a 16-year-old kid in his parents' basement and create a really awesome, useful technology. The problem is we haven't figured out yet how to make sure that those quote unquote useful technologies are being used in a proper fashion, right? Because let's be honest with ourselves here. With FTX, if anyone, there were plenty of people that looked in, supposedly quote unquote looked into FTX as an exchange, and there had to be red flags, right? There had to be. I mean, you had a group of kids running a multi-billion-dollar company that didn't really have any kind of credentials to be doing so. They weren't being transparent. No, they weren't having audits done outside of their own personal relationships. So there's not enough eyes on this space, and so I've actually had discussions in the last couple of days about these exact topics, like setting up. We're currently writing the rules for cryptocurrency and for blockchain technology, and we have to think about positioning ourselves to write standards of transparency. So maybe that comes in the form of being like, that there has to be unbiased outside audits of these centralized entities. Maybe it is that there has to be certain security protocols that are looked at from outside entities, whatever the case may be. But there has to be more vetting done. The amount of vetting that's done in this space is it's almost criminal, because you can throw I've seen 100 times in the last 12 months. You could throw a cryptocurrency with a a simple DApp that can be created in 24 to 48 hours onto the blockchain, and it could be worth $100 million, in 2 days. And this is just not good investing, and it's not good development of technology, because there are checks and balances to create safety for users, to create a sustainable build model. And we're moving towards that now. We're already doing better in the NFT space. We've moved away from, hey, people aren't overpaying for a JPEG with no utility and no roadmap anymore. Because they realize that this is ridiculous, right? I mean, it doesn't even make sense. And so we're moving into NFT projects that are being supported because they have utility, because they have honest and transparent founders, and because they have a clear direction as to where they're going. And I think the same thing needs to happen inside of these centralized exchanges, dApps, things of that nature.
And that's just it, right? I mean, it's this crazy gray area we're in. I mean, but a lot of the things you're talking about have faced, many industries, not just this one. I mean, and certainly technology industries for sure have been faced with, does the new technology get used for good or evil, right? I mean, my goodness, look at email and the debacle that's become with the junk mail system, or, just for an example. But I think it's, what the real solutions are. Some of the things you hit upon are those of us who are doing what I will call the right thing, the real thing, trying to make viable businesses, trying to build an industry that's going to last. These people, we're tending to put our noses down and grind. And in doing so, I think, like you said, we are setting up the rules. So if we are transparent and we say we've had audits, whatever those, end up coming online to be. I mean, we have things like Certec already, which is a good start. But again, paying for somebody to audit something and give you a check off gets muddy in itself too, because there is some culpability in the fact that they're getting paid to do it. So I would like us to see us, eventually as an industry rise to a point where we do have kind of these standards and maybe some type of overseeing that is run from within the industry. Certainly we're a long time off from that, but the beginnings of it are regulation from countries like the US, and we're already seeing it in other countries as well. And so that's going to frame up what I think the future of crypto, of what the good guys are going to look like, right? What we're going to have to attain. And I'm hoping that these entities that are making these decisions are looking at companies in the space that are doing it right to create these rules and regulations and saying, oh, well, this is what we should have going forward. That being said, I think it's a great lead into, again, like you said, NFTs with no utility that we were living in, and it's a PFP and a bunch of promises, right? Which we can get into later about where we're all going with that, and especially our project. But I want to hear a lot more about Alpha Mutants and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that to preface, talking about Alpha Mutants is to really preface the team behind it, right? So I believe one of my co-founders down here in the crowd, Nate and Tate, but between the co-founders of Alpha Mutants, when we began to formulate the idea that was this NFT project, it really only had two points of vision, right? And the points of vision were, number one, that the space was being utilized by players to essentially squeeze every ounce of monetary value they could get out of people, and to price gouge on things that did not cost anywhere near as much as what they were charging. So we started this in March of this year. We actually took over the project from, it was a previously rug pulled project, and we were a new team that had been voted in to fix it. It doesn't really matter to be talking about that, because we completely changed the entire IP and direction and everything else, the contracts and all that. But I say that to say this: we looked into it, and what we saw going on was projects that were taking simple utility. So a great example of that is analytical tools. There's 100 projects out there that give you access to higher end analytical tools that are available for free, right? And some of these projects were, charging $300-400 in NFT. Some of them were charging monthly subscription fees of, $100 a month or whatever. We saw, trading algorithms that were being sold at thousands of dollars a year, all these things. And the reality is that it doesn't cost anywhere near that much to maintain these things. I mean, they were blatantly price gouging, or I mean, worse than the cosmetic industry, right? Like, I mean, it was ridiculous. And so our first goal was, hey, let's aggregate as many of these utility tools and alpha and information as we can into one server, and let's make the entry to that very, very affordable, right? So that's the first thing we did. We built out these utility tools that we integrate in our service. So now, our holders have access to trading bots. They have access to Twitter AI. They have access to dozens of analytical tools. They have access to daily news. They have access to airdrop walkthroughs, like all these different things that can help you learn and then monetize your time in the space. And, if you hold an alpha, you get that forever, right? And any further utility, we're constantly adding more onto it. And so any further utility we have, you're still going to get full access to that. So that was our first value proposition. And I might have, I would be remorse if I didn't say that, we decided to build out a product before we launched a collection, right? Because I hate this idea that the NFT space made popular, that you could just say, hey, we're going to do something really cool. We haven't done anything at all right now, but you need to give us a couple $1 million and then we will do it, right? That is the worst business pitch I've ever heard. And that was being bought by hundreds of thousands of people for months and months and months, right? And it's terrible. It makes no business sense. It makes no investment sense or anything. So, we decided that, hey, we're going to build out utility before we launch our project. And we did that. And we ran a freemium model where you could get access to our Discord server for free for, I think, probably like 3 months. We ran that. So people could jump in, they could try out our products, they could see if they liked them. And then when we made it to mint, we minted at 0.025 ETH, which at the time was like maybe $35. So we wanted to have a super accessible entry point for pretty much anybody in the world that wanted to get into to this stuff. So that was our first. Our second was another really interesting concept. And now that I think back, it's crazy that we actually were able to accomplish these in the time frame that we did, because they're very haughty. So the second one was that, we had seen in the space that there were tons and tons of projects that were promising a certain percentage of revenues back to the holders, right? And 95% of the time, that just meant that, we're going to give, 25% or 50% or whatever it was of our secondary sales back to our holders, right? And I mean, that really holds no value, because, you and I both know that sometimes secondary sales are great, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they start off great and kind of cascade down, and they have ups and downs and all this kind of stuff. So it's not reliable, right? And to be able to pay out an entire collection of people with that just there's no way that can be done. So what we decided to do was we wanted to create multiple revenue streams and run this thing like an actual business, so that we could have, calculatable revenues and be able to do this on a month-to-month basis and not have to worry about, we're not going to have anything 1 month or whatever. So what we did was we took the tools that we had, which, we have a super experienced team, and we started building out several streams of income. So currently, we have secondary sales on the secondary market. We have a mirroring service where we allow our alpha call channels and a few of our bot channels to be mirrored to collab partner servers for a monthly fee. We run a once a month mega raffle for our community. It gives people that just don't have the liquidity to purchase into blue chip NFTs the chance to pick up a blue chip NFT. We take a small fee off the top of that. And then we also run a launchpad service. So we do launchpad services anywhere from like a full launch all the way up to maybe they just need some marketing done, or maybe they just need some front-end web development done. But a portion of those revenues of every single one of those streams goes back to the Alpha Mutants treasury, which in turn is redistributed to the community, right? We also, during that time frame, had to think about, SEC regulations, because you can't just say, hey, we're going to give people, money and it be a for sure thing, a guarantee of financial gain. So we turn those into raffle pools, right? So our community goes in once a month. They have entries based on how many alpha mutants they hold and of what kind. They put those into the raffle pools, so they're not guaranteed to win, but we put lots and lots of ETH prizes, lots and lots of NFT prizes in there, and that way we get to redistribute the some of the treasuries yields each month to our community members. So that's the two bases that govern alpha mutants, and that's what we're doing. When you get down into the nitty gritty of it, we have dozens and dozens of utility bots for different things in the space. Our people, make money in quite a few different ways. We've had some crazy wins over time, whether that be in trading or calls or just people farming airdrops or whatever that may be. And we're also very focused on education. We run weekly AMA, well, not really AMAs, really courses inside of our Discord that talk about, how to structure a crypto portfolio, how, actually usable skills like Blender courses teaching you how to use Blender as a 3D art creation and things like that. So we're really focused on those areas. And it's been an interesting ride, man. It's been 8-9 months that we've been doing this, and it's insane how far we've come, and it's just gotten bigger than I think. The vision's gotten bigger than I think any of the founders originally planned it to be. So it's been a super fun ride.
I love movies like that. When it's bigger than anybody really thought it was going to be, and goes off in a different direction, and everybody's benefiting from it. I want to second what you're doing. I love what you guys are doing. I mean, right, value to the community. Um, Very much like what we've been doing. There's so few people in the space. I mean, we're seeing more now, which is nice, coming out of the woods, of this idea of, I'm going to build something first and then I will sell it to you, as opposed to, let me tell you something and then I'll build it for you. um, yeah, it's a very strange space. It was very strange for me when I got into the space, and I think now we're starting to see that push for change. That you're going to have to show me more than a white paper. You're going to have to show me more than promises, right? Which is really what a lot of it amounted to. And that doesn't mean to say that some people and some communities and projects didn't follow through on those promises, because certainly some did. But for the most part, we know that a lot of it just turned out to be promises. Um, Buying an NFT now, I mean, I think we really are seeing the evolution of the technology. I think, first we saw it as, I think, what it was, right? Art. It turned into a PFP, which through some magic of existence became a very valuable thing to hold. And why did it become so, though? I don't think it necessarily became so because of the art per se itself, or even the value of it going up, making it all more valuable. I think really what it amounts to is these things became digital identities, right? They became who people were recognized as, whether that be in social media or that be in a community, right? Through a PFP, through a name, through an identity. And especially, I think, the uniqueness of crypto, the blockchain, Web3, we've seen this very big anon idea, right? And, I think that comes from this idea of, well, I can do transactions and nobody is watching me unless you know what my wallet is. And that kind of steamrolled into, well, you shouldn't know who anybody is. And I think that's where the industry got lost, right? Like, teams need to be doxxed. Our team's fully doxxed, and we have a company address, and we're an LLC. And so I think that's where you're seeing a lot of this heading, not just in the United States, but there's certainly projects from all over the world, but they're trying to build more of a corporate basis, and not a traditional one necessarily, because I don't want to, show for traditional corporate structures either. We're very much a team environment, but in order to get things produced, you have to have a structure. If you're going to really make money and reinvest that money into your company, into future R&D, then there has to be a plan. There has to be a business plan. There have to be people running things. And like you said, it can't just be a bunch of kids with a good idea. That's a great place to start, but we've obviously seen it takes much more to bring things to a long-term viable solution that really is not just rewarding for investors, but is rewarding for the industry, for I want to say the world, but the community as a whole, right? Because I think more than anything, what we've seen blockchain technology do is bridge all of these international gaps that we really were having, I think, a lot of trouble with before. We've seen communities come together that are made up of people from all over the world, the likes of which I think we've never seen in any other platform other than wherever the communities through NFTs mainly and crypto coins as well to some degree are building these communities, whether that be on Discord or some other avenue. It's really that that's bringing together this world community that have an interest in similar things that's bringing them into that community, similar ideas or art or wants, needs, desires, whatever it is that brings them together. And that's the part that I love. Um, that's the part that I see real value in is the connections. I was just talking to some of my colleagues just yesterday or the day before saying, I've been so busy with our project and doing our spaces and making sure our team, so I'm the operations manager for Metatope. So I'm the one that carries the big stick around and makes sure everybody else is doing their jobs. I try to really be a joiner. I keep communication lines open and try to be that facilitator that's getting things done. And what I found was that in doing that and in grinding so hard for this project, I really had started to turn my focus probably over the last couple of months away from some of the things that I was really good at, right? Which was being in new communities and meeting new people and not just bringing them to my community, but being a part of their community and bringing those connections together, which I think is really what the space has become about. And I know it's what Metatope's about. With that being said, I want to give another shout out. People, please invite your friends, get them in here. If we can get this space to 100, I'm going to double the ETH. I'm going to give away 50. So let's get it up. Let everybody know we're having a great discussion. Come on in. We're going to have some big announcements about Metatope a little bit later as well. And we're going to continue on. I want to thank everybody for being here. I really appreciate everybody with everything that's been going on in the space these last couple of weeks. I'm glad that there are still people turning out to spaces. I want people to know that there's still not just our project, because I talk to a lot of people. There are still very valuable projects minting, building, getting ready. The next 6 months are going to be extremely exciting, I think. We're looking, I think, at the bottom of the trough now. We're seeing the things that are finally just falling apart. That's fine. It's not great for everybody, but the lessons are being learned, and I think we're getting ready to see that turn. I'm very bullish on next year. I mean, I'm very bullish on some of the projects that I'm in, on what they're doing to bring value to the space, and they're not looking at the space anymore as what can I do to get investors. They're looking at the space as what can I build of value to people that they will want to come and be a part of. And that will entail in some part purchasing something because it's a business, but it's no longer the first drive of how do I get money out of people? It's how do I show value so that people will want to come and buy something from me of value? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly. I mean, that's exactly the sit rep of what's going on currently because, one of the reasons that markets work so well is that they from time to time flush out the bad actors, right? And that's what we're seeing. That's what we've been seeing for months now. Is the market's rejecting the bad actors, and so the people that were here just for money grabs, most of them are gone because it's not. It was easy to make money in the space, a year ago. It's not now. It's very difficult. There's a lot of sweat equity that has to go into it. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of people that are building without paychecks, without just doing all this backroom work and building out. And the only people that are doing that are people that are serious about where this technology is going and that are serious about the value proposition that they are providing to their projects and their communities, right? So I agree with you 100%. I think that as painful as this time is for some people, most of the time when you're talking to builders, they really don't care. I get messages every time something bad happens in the space from people, and they're like, "Oh, I hope I hope you're safe from this or safe from that," and it's like, man, I don't, I'm not even looking at that stuff. I'm not. My head is down. I'm building. I'm looking for communities that are building like I'm building and like my team's building, and that's what I'm doing. That's what Nate's doing. We're working on these things, and we don't really care. Like, I mean, everything can fall apart. Our thesis is that blockchain technology is going to revolutionize the world in the next 5, 10, 20 years. So it doesn't matter to us. This is just giving us time to get our stuff together. And then, when the bull does return, as it always does, when those up markets return, then we have, 10x what we had at the the beginning of the bear market. We've built 10x more than that, and we have so much more to offer, and there's so much more of a value proposition there. So I agree with you.
The way it's coming. I mean, the minute I started to see more and more traditional companies turning their eyes towards this technology, and clearly they're not going to get into this and lose a bunch of money. They're not going to get into it and try to scam a bunch of people or anything. So I think the more we're seeing these traditional companies grab onto this technology in a way, not just minting NFTs, but grab onto it really in a way that is going to engage the world with this technology. Tying blockchain to everything from, land to movies, right? I bought a digital movie in essence that was minted that I can own and play on a web browser wherever I go. Like, so already, like, the day of the CD is gone. Like, I have a feeling like when I tell my grandkids I'm going to buy you a CD, they're going to look at me like I have 3 heads and they don't know what that is. But I think it's really interesting where all of this is taking us to a place where the oligarchy of what has created the centralization has got to be seeing this and shaking in their boots, right? The idea that a small group of people can get together and hold value in something and have a say in something, and what that is, the sky is the limit, is a very exciting time to be alive. And I think everybody in this space and every space should be super excited about being a part of it, whether you're building in it, buying in it, listening to it. This is a really cool time to be alive. And the connections that are happening throughout the world are going to knock down barriers that have been around for thousands of years.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's you can tell like who the believers are now, right? So anytime there's an emerging industry, you have these cycles of, the old, like you said, the oligarchy, that these set ways of doing things, the people that are entrenched in old technologies and old ways of doing things, they always fight it, right? And to begin with, that group of people is always larger than the emerging technology, right? So we've got, the media is not kind to blockchain tech. The people that are entrenched in traditional markets and value assets like gold and silver, like most of those people are not friendly towards blockchain technology, but it doesn't pay them to be because they're so entrenched in other things, right? But what the reality, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I wonder how many of those talking heads that are telling you, not to buy crypto and, are all on the back end heavily invested in some of these things that turned a lot of money because they know, right?
Well, yeah, and that happens all the time, right? Like I mean, I can point that out. I've been in the traditional markets for over a decade, so like 12 years, and you see it all the time that big hedge funds and managers will fud the living hell out of a particular industry, and they'll do that for a while to cause a downturn in the industry, and while they're buying in the back end, right? Like this is all calculated, right? So the people that are still here, that are still watching this, they're still, you guys are the people that are beating the system, right? Because the system is that you should be afraid, you should be letting go of all of your assets that you had faith in, and you should be allowing these big conglomerates and hedge funds and everything else purchase up these assets. And I mean that goes directly against the idea of what cryptocurrencies and blockchain tech is. It's it's about personal sovereignty. It's about you being able to personally have a voice in very large operations and projects and protocols. And don't waste that. Don't waste it, because I promise, if you do, if you let the fear overtake you, then you are going to miss out on the chance of a lifetime, and you're going to be playing into the hands that have done this a million other times with tons of other technology. That's just where it is. So don't lose the faith. I tell people this every day. Don't be afraid. This has happened ever since markets existed. It's the way that the game is played. So be smarter than the game.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said that better. I mean, this is the time when I try to tell people, look, you're not buying a product anymore. You're not buying a project. You're buying people. So dig into the people that are running it. Look at what they do, what they're trying to do. Look at what they have invested. And whether that's money, but more likely blood, sweat, and tears, right? And that's really what you're investing in today, and that's what it should be. That's what it should have been all along, right? You can't invest in people when no one's doxxed and they're a name or a Twitter account, and it's just hype, right? But when you can come into a space and meet somebody and talk to them, and then go into a Discord and find the same person and ask them questions, and and be told, look, we have nothing to hide, you know, this is what we're building and we want you all to be a part of it. This is what is going to make this space explode when it really starts to hit the rest of the mass, as I call it, right? And that idea in itself is why people like Facebook changed their name to Meta, because they know it too. So I think we're all going to get there. Um, I want to thank everybody for being in here. I really appreciate it. The space is growing every week. Let me ask Enzo, how many people we got in here, Enzo? What are we up to today?
Right now we have 57 people in here. 50, yeah, 50, 58 people, my bad.
All right. I said 50 people. We're going to give away 50. So we're definitely going to do that. I also want to get into a few other things here before we get to the giveaways. We got some exciting stuff happening with Metatope, guys. For those of you who haven't really looked into our project yet, a little bit about us. We are building an app that is full motion capture from the selfie-facing camera on your cell phone. Hands, fingers especially, feet, head to toe. Now we're going to take that motion capture technology and you're going to be able to embody the NFT that we're going to mint. The NFTs have been designed by Jared Morantz. He is a world-class artist. He created Thanos, among many other characters in that realm. Really high-tech, super great-looking assets that are going to be coming out. And you're going to be able to basically wear this in AR and take it and make videos with it and export it to TikTok and Twitch. And there's going to be more and more coming. You're going to be able to connect to Zoom. You're going to be able to connect to the metaverse in it. This is going to become your digital identity, as I was talking about earlier. Now, you say, well, there's a lot else going on. I mean, there's only so many of these, and how will we get everybody in? Well, we're also going to allow, through owning one of these, other communities to connect and onboard with us. And two of the first we're doing are the Bored Apes and the CryptoPunks. And so for those people who have Bored Apes, they're going to, by owning an empty skin, be able to come into our app and authenticate, and they will be able to embody their Bored Ape in full 3D from head to toe, fingers, arms, legs. It's really cool stuff, you guys. I've been playing with the beta. If you look over at our socials and some of the folks following us, you'll start to see some of the things coming from the closed beta right now. But coming very soon is going to be an open beta that is going to start onboarding people, and you're going to see a lot more content coming that this thing can do. It's super exciting. I invite you guys, please go to our social pages at the Metatope here on Twitter, metatope.com, and then special one, ww, two W's, metatope.com to sign up for your chance to get the beta of this app and try it out yourself. We are going to let you guys play with skins in the app. There's going to be different ones to choose from. You're going to be able to make videos and do stuff with these free assets. And then we want you to see it, love it before you buy a thing. And then we'll talk about Mint. We have our pre-mint up for registration, but we're doing lots of stuff in our Discord. And so that's what'll get me to my announcement. So we're starting a few things in our Discord this week. We do have our weekly Pixel Wars game, which is a great interactive game. It's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, Rumble, if for those of you who know that type of game. But it's very interactive, and you get to create a character and do some really cool stuff. And we're giving away some prizes for that. But we're also going to be starting invite to access. So basically what we want to do, look, we want to reward you guys. We want to grow this community, and we want you to invite the people that you want to build this community. So the first thing we're going to start doing is starting today. You invite 5 people, we're going to unlock a special channel for you. And in that channel, I'm going to put a raffle that's going to give away a free mint. And we're going to do that right before the mint. So anybody that gets 5 people to come in, that stay in and are part of our community till we get to mint, and it's not far away, folks, it's coming, then we're going to reward those people with a chance to get a free mint. You invite 10, 20, 50, 100 people, 250 people. I got roles for you, and I got a lot more cool stuff to give away. But I'll keep that in my back pocket for now, so you guys come back next week. And, well, let's talk about next week a little bit too, right? Thanksgiving in the U.S. Hope everybody is going to have an amazing Thanksgiving and eat a ton of food. I am going to start the space for a little bit. We're not going to have a special guest. We're not going to talk crypto, but I'm going to jump on for a little bit. Wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Anybody who wants to come in and share their Thanksgiving thoughts or what they're thankful for that day, I'd be glad to have them. So we're going to do that. That being said, the last announcement I have, we're also going to be starting up some quests in our Discord server. We've engaged with a new partner called Crew 3, super awesome system. It's going to allow us to kind of give you guys really an onboarding into the project, have you complete little tasks that give you information about the project, that teach you things about crypto, and reward you at the same time for doing so. So, just like Alpha Mutants is doing, I want to teach you and reward you for learning, because I think that's fun. I was in education for a lot of years. I taught paramedics. I ran a school, and nothing was more rewarding to me than to see somebody get something that you're trying to teach them, right? To understand it and then do it for themselves, right? Teach a man to fish, I always say. With that being said, Enzo, I want to get on with a couple of these giveaways here. We're getting on to our time. So let's go ahead and give everybody a final chance. Please interact with the tweet above. Follow the Metatope. Follow Alpha Mutants for your chances to win. Enzo's going to get ready to do the Twitter picker, my brother.
Yeah, I'm giving people a few more minutes while that's getting while we get that set up. I want to just take a minute to tell people, if you guys aren't in the Discord, you guys are missing out, because every once in a while Walker will drop in there and using our app, like you can see him welcome new people with our app. So he'll throw on his skin and welcome some people. I think he's done it like 2 times this week already. So if you're not in there, you're missing out on how the app works and how good Walker looks in a skin.
Absolutely. We always have our team in there dropping in, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, dropping memes. We got a meme contest coming up that's going to be announced or has been announced. I can't keep track of everything going on in this company most days, but lots of really fun stuff coming up, and we want you all to be a part of it. That being said, I'm pushing on to my time here, and I really appreciate everybody being here today. It's been a great conversation. Next week, we will have the Thanksgiving. Just come in and tell us what you're thankful for. The following week, we're going to have some great guests. We're going to have our first AVAX project on. So I'm bullish on other chains. We're bullish on other chains. We're not just inviting ETH projects to come and link up with us. This thing's going to be cross-chain as well. So you're going to be able to embody NFTs from other chains as well. So if you've got a great project on another chain that you love, that you think, man, I'd love to be able to wear that and make videos as that NFT, come in our project. Let us know about it. Get that team to contact us. Let's get partnered up. Let's see if we can bring more value to each other.
Absolutely, man. I'm sure Crypto Kenny would someday love to wear his Alpha Mutant. That's a sick looking Alpha Mutant you got there, man. It's your PFP.
Man, bet on that. Bet on that. Yeah, that's it. The one I've got is actually one of our 1-for-1s, and yes, I'm researching every metaverse play I possibly can to get to embody this guy in the metaverse. So for sure.
So the great thing about you're only going to need one place to get in the metaverse. Your files and everything are going to be held everywhere else. And through our app and our partnerships, when you go to that metaverse and you say, here's my wallet, authenticate me, I own an MT skin, bam, your MT skin is going to appear in that metaverse with you wearing it, being able to interact in that metaverse. If it's a video game, you're going to be able to use that MT skin in the video game. And so we're really trying to connect things in a way that nobody's ever done before, right? Infrastructure is what this space needs. We have all of these great communities and NFT projects, and we're all like out in the nether worlds, right? We want to become that central hub that everybody can connect to everything. And when I see that Alpha Mutant, I know it's you. Whether I'm in the metaverse, in a Zoom call, or in Discord, I'm going to see that and know it's you. I want to really embody these things as our digital identities, because that's really where we're headed. We are becoming so much more of a digital world than anybody could have imagined.
Absolutely, 100%. And before we get too far away, I just want to congratulate Death Human. He's in the crowd with us right now. Send me a message with your wallet address, and congratulations, you won $50 in ETH.
Awesome, Enzo. Congratulations. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate everybody being here. I want to remind everybody, come back every Thursday. We're always going to be doing giveaways. Come check out the Discord. Like I said, we've got events going on in there. We're going to be starting up poker on Wednesday nights. Nights for me, but it could be anytime for you. So come in, check it out, say hi. Mods are great. Everybody's really friendly. We're happy to have you there, and we're happy to have you as part of our community always. That being said, stick with the Metatope. We love you guys. This is Crypto Medic. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, cyberpunk. Yeah. I mix my ETH with Polygon Pythagoras. MetaMask. Yeah, crypto cash. Let's go. I seen the metaverse through Metatope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone. Phase 1 evolution, revolution. Smart contracts inside your smartphone. Phase 1 evolution, revolution. Help me ET phone. Whole body markerless motion capture. The metaverse broken after the Metatope golden era. The whitelist still open. Hurry up, what you need, golden chariot. Holy virgins that's holding cherubims, paving the road with fairy dust. Create the avatar of your wildest dreams, yeah, and use it inside your live stream. And all your metaverses, favorite games in widescreen. Metatope, visualize your digital ID. I seen the metaverse through Metatope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone. Yeah, Metatope is your mirror to the metaverse. Yeah, I seen the metaverse through Metatope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone.